Okay, we've arrived, Finale Ligure. Time to unpack everything. Set off at about 4:30 this morning, flew from Bristol to Nice. It's only about an hour and a half down the road, so nice to get back into the sun. It's been a little while since I've been here, but time to build the bike, get out for a little spin, maybe get an ice cream. So I've got my number plate, getting my brake bled by the good folks at SRAM and just relaxing and having an ice cream. It's time to get ready for the race tomorrow. Well, not the race tomorrow, practice tomorrow. Yes, so ready to start practice. Practice at Finale is split into two groups because there's so many riders. So I'm in the B group, so I've not raced for a long time. So actually we're practicing stage 4 first and then going to 1, 2, 3. I'm going to film everything on my GoPro just so I can check it out. Tomorrow we've got a day off before the race, so I'll just look through, try and remember everything because you only get one practice run. You should get a marker on your plate, so everyone gets one run. It's hot, but check out the place. What a nice place to come ride your bike. Feeling a bit nervous now, but can't wait to have a go. This is the men's downhill, which is really loose, super dry, a bit like kitty litter, but let's have a go. So starting off on men's downhill, which is sort of notoriously actually loose at the top and then actually quite gnarly at the bottom. And I really just didn't feel that great. I felt like I was riding really rusty, making mistakes everywhere. And whilst I think my experience helps quite a lot, sometimes it just really gets to me because I know where I'm losing seconds all the time. So a little second here, second there. You realise actually how slow I'm going to be at the weekend. To couple that with a really awkward crash at the end where I fell quite a long way onto my back. I was actually sort of really thankful for my back protector that I don't normally wear, but you have to in Italy. That saved me, but I bashed my elbow and actually rode out the bottom of stage 1 feeling like I don't know how to ride a bike. A bit of a regroup. I had an orange juice, had an espresso, decided to get out of my slump and realise actually how lucky I am to be out here riding my bike for the fun of it. I'm not a racer anymore. It's time to just appreciate the bike, appreciate the amazing trails we're riding, and actually pull my finger out and have a proper go at this. Right, now up to stage 1, does that make sense? So we did 4, now stage 1, 2, 3. And we can shuttle on practice day. We drove from the bottom of 4 as far as we could on the road, and then it was still another 20 minutes, half an hour hike, bit of a push, bit of a ride. Super hot today, so 29 degrees, so surprisingly hard. So from town on Sunday morning, we've got a ride all the way up to here. So although it's the easiest finale ever, it's still going to be a big day out. So now to actual stage 1 that's going to be on Sunday, and surprisingly physical. Some really tight tree sections and then some pretty punchy climbs means that trail is going to be a tricky one. And actually, for me, I'm not feeling the fittest at the moment, so it's just time to get my head down and try and get through that stage as fast as I can.
Sketchy section.
It's just, yeah, surprisingly hard. It's that layer of dust on top and it's tight. Right, top stage 2, check out this ridge. Two different lines here. Inside looks pretty tough actually. Right, now time for Roccagianchi, and what a beautiful place to have a race. Check out that view. It was tempted a little bit by the fact we saw someone getting carted off on a 4x4 and then taken off in the helicopter with injuries, and it really was a gnarly start. A couple of line options, but to be honest, I went for the easy option and tried to get through there safe and as smooth as I can. Bottom stage 2, that's a crazy mix of just gnarly, more gnarly, and then mellow, and then really physical, and then some really tight switchbacks and sort of more stuff that I know Finale for, like tight, steep stuff. But it's hard. Times gap's gonna be big on that one. I'm definitely struggling a bit, but amazing fun. Right now we're up to the last stage of practice today. It's actually stage 3 because we did 1 first, if you remember. It's flipping hard work. It's a big day out, 50 kilometers. We did a shuttle and a half as well, so Sunday's gonna be really hard, but I guess it just proves how good these bikes are. We're riding big travel bikes with lockouts and stuff. You can just go miles on them. Check out the view again. Stage 3 and now heading back towards the sea. I felt like this was actually more physical than it looked. My arms were starting to hurt, and by this time of the day I was definitely feeling it. Knowing that on race day you've got 1 more stage to do actually was quite disheartening. I was definitely feeling a bit tired. But I got to the end, and there's a couple of actually things that jumped out and gave you a bit of a surprise. A couple of gnarly sections there, just reminding me that you can never feel safe. Trying to go fast, some of the sections are easy, but there's always something that can catch you out. So Friday's done and dusted, the only day of practice, do 1 run on all the trails, and really it's just been a big reminder for me that how hard it is to win these races. I've never been at the pointy end of one of these races, even back when I was a full pro time racer. I think the best I ever did was 13th on day 1 in Scotland and finished 20th or something, and that was at my peak. So it's crazy to try and win these races. The amount of terrain you ride, the amount of gnarly sections where you've got to try and be the fastest person, the amount of things that could potentially go wrong, so many like rocky, horrible things to puncture on. And actually just a few times today I was really dabbing, getting off the bike, trying to push and run through sections. There's so many places where you could lose time that to actually think about trying to win one of these races, the amount of effort that goes into it, how much of an all-round rider you've got to be is really hard. So tomorrow's Saturday, it's a day off, the race is on Sunday, so tomorrow I'm going to cruise down to Pits, which is down on the beachfront, have a few gelatos, rest the legs, check out a few pros bikes, hopefully get a few last minute tips from some of the top pro racers, but more importantly give my legs a rest because Sunday is going to be a big hard day. So Saturday was rest day. I shot a video in the morning, then spent the afternoon cleaning and really checking over my bike. Then it's time to just put on those EWS stickers. So part of the race really is to try and keep your bike running, so you've got to run the same rims, front end and swing arm and fork on your bike. If for any reason you break one of those and have to go back to the pits to get it replaced, then you'll get a time penalty. Once my bike was sorted, I then cruised down to the pits, try and film a couple of pro bike checks and actually get some last minute tips from some of the pros. Just felt Samuel's tyres just with a squidge test. I think I need to go a bit harder. And a bit harder. Martin, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I am, yeah. Nice. I've come to ask you some advice.
Oh, okay.
I've not raced for a while.
Okay.
What, did you just go flat out, no pacing?
No, you have to. You have to pace yourself. Because you can't fail.
Yeah.
You know, towards the end.
Oh, right, okay.
If you fail, you just lose so much time.
Yeah. But there's some gnarly stages, like even...
Yeah, but they're not too long.
Yeah.
So...
It's just 4 downhill races.
Yeah, it's not over... We don't have any stages over 5 minutes.
Right, okay.
I don't think.
So I GoPro'd everything. Do you do the same and you'll watch them today and try and memorise bits?
Yeah, I watched them a few times. But it's not necessary.
Yeah, okay.
I don't...
Well, you don't want to stress too much?
So much.
Okay.
From watching, but some people do. So
yeah.
I guess.
But when obviously you've been racing downhill recently to some great success, you'll know the track like inch perfect when you're racing downhill.
That's the main difference between enduro and downhill.
Yeah.
And that's why before racing downhill, you take too much risk when you race downhill, but it's actually the opposite, I think now.
Okay.
Because you're going so fast on a track that you actually don't know.
Right, yeah.
So it's very different, but I find it a bit risky now, racing enduro, because
Yeah, it is.
You're going so fast, and sometimes you don't even know what's coming.
All of a sudden, I've noticed on these, like you'll ride a bit of mellow trail and there'll be something really gnarly that'll sort of just jump up at you, and you just got to remember kind of where those things are. And remember to be a bit careful.
That's what I mean, pacing yourself because and you come into a difficult part, you just make a mistake or crash.
All right, cheers, dude.
No problem.
Have a good one.
Have a good one tomorrow.
All right, cheers, mate.
Can it?
Finished off with some food and just the one beer tonight because it's race day tomorrow. Cruised home to just watch my GoPro runs from earlier, try and remember some of the lines, actually try and remember some of the dodgier bits so I don't get caught out tomorrow on race day.
What are we doing here, Neil?
Breakfast, Joe. It's still dark outside.
What's the time?
6:50.
It's very early. You nervous?
No. I eat breakfast every morning. It's now 7:30. Just getting in the queue to roll off stage and then transition up to stage 1. Probably, I think it's about an hour and a half ride up until the start of stage 1. Surprisingly clean run actually. It's like a couple of really awkward type bits at the start that made me feel like I wasn't flowing very well, but then there's 2 nasty techie uphill bits that I nailed really well. Didn't think I was gonna. Left thumb like a monkey on a machine gun, but twin lock was great. I probably used it, I don't know, 10 times down there. Now on full lockout, winching our way up to stage 2. This is a pretty big transition, it's time to refill. Stick some of my, what are they called, isotonic tabs on water, so I'm sweating buckets. It's only 9:30 in the morning. Hey. Stage 2 started off with a really intimidating exposed peak and then a ridge line with some really gnarly lines. And for the first time in my racing career, I actually took the easy route rather than trying to pick the hardest, fastest line. I thought, you know, it's really not worth it. I'm just trying to get through this race. So I took the easier line, swallowed my pride, and just tried to get through that as fast as I could. Also, this was the section that in practice we saw people getting helicoptered off, and I actually saw a couple of big crashes when I was checking it out. It's all about trying to get through it unscathed and actually then trying to get through the rest of stage 2. Again, I was trying to do it as fast as I can, but it's still super pedally. There was one really actually quite gnarly climb where I was doing all I could just to keep my pedals turning and actually try and keep some speed. A couple of more gnarly sections and it was down into the lower woods where actually I started to feel a bit better on my bike and maybe try to make up some time on some of the other races. Right, 2 stages done, just on that transition up to stage 3, top of that ridge. Over there, riding down to the coast and up to that hill distance for the last stage. We've gone alright so far, fairly steady, no dramas, definitely not going to be, you know, pushing any of those top boys, that is for sure. I knew that already, but it's good, love it. It was a big transfer over to stage 3, but by now I was feeling much more like my previous self, like I could actually race a bike a little bit. And I felt like I'd done the worst of it. Those first 2 stages were the ones I was slightly worried about. Stages 3 and 4 were all about having fun. I actually felt like I was going to push a bit harder, and that actually did bite me a little bit because the rider in front of me went through the tapes.
and I didn't remember the corner and I went straight through again. So a bit of a mistake, definitely lost some time there. Jumped back on the bike, and actually a few more just messy corners felt like I was losing time again. There was one really nasty right-hander with an uphill section out of it that was really hard to try and pedal through, and I messed that up again, had to jump off the bike, run up that uphill climb and jump back on. Then I felt like I got a little bit better, but I was panting, I was getting tired. I still had one big stage left to go, men's downhill. So by this time in the day, I felt like I've been riding for a long time. We were on the bikes at 7:40 in the morning. Now it was almost 2 in the afternoon. So I knew that my fitness was probably going to start leaving me on this stage. So again, I tried to push hard, really didn't want to nail myself in the pedally top section. I tried to recover a little bit in the middle, but it's definitely hard going. It's kind of loose men's downhill, a bit like kitty litter, some of it. Some of it actually did flow quite well, but then you go over that last precipice down towards a med, and it's just super full on. Actually felt kind of all right after I paced myself, but then I hit a big hole. You know, and you're feeling like you've got one of those massive bench presses, and you're just trying to get back up onto the bike, and then you hit another hole. Super rough, my lines left me, and I just tried to ride down it as fast but as safe as I could. But the crowd was pretty amazing, and it felt good to finish the stage, knowing that all I had to do now is roll back into the stage, get back into town, have a beer, and just think about what had been a pretty epic day on the bike.
So it's the day after the race, Finale Ligure. Definitely feeling a little bit jaded, a bit tired. Legs are surprisingly okay, but it was a long day out. Started at 7:30, left that stage, finished at about 2:30, I think. 4 intense stages. It was hard to just step back up and try and race, to be honest. Harder than I expected. Stages were mixed, sort of felt like I warmed up a bit, and then by the end of the last stage, I was so tired. Hit one of those holes, you know, and get one of those sort of 200 kilo bench presses, and it takes ages to get back up on the bars, but loved it. What a great experience. Finished 125th, which is very okay, but I'm pretty fine with that. It's cool. Just love doing it. And really enjoyed riding that bike. Just think that Scott Ransom, all I did was change the tyres. I put a cush core in the rear because I knew it was going to be pretty punishing, especially when trying to ride super tired. Loved it. I wouldn't have chosen any other bike. I think a 29er enduro bike for me suits me great. Of course, people like Samuel, they ride those really aggressive 7.5 wheels. But for me, I think I need that extra bit of help from the 29ers. Well, I think it's time to just sit on the beach and relax. If you want to see the build up to this final video of me getting ready, click over there for that one. And if you want to see the first look at that Scott Ransom, click over there. Give us a thumbs up if you like watching me suffer and try and race again. Hit that sub button.